Good morning, dears. I am Dr. Annapurni, uh, doctor as well as a professor. Today, we are going to discuss about one case about the criminal defendant. How can we assess the psychological assessment for a criminal defendant? Background of this case is John Smith is a 35-year-old individual facing charges of armed robbery and assault. He was arrested based on eyewitness accounts and forensic evidence linking him to crime scheme. John denies the allegations, claiming mistaken identity and a lack of involvement in the crime. Here, the issue in this case is first we have to assess the mental state and the competency of John Smith to stand trial. Second issue is to evaluate the potential presence of any mental health disorders or issues that may impact his defense. Third issue is to determine the credibility and the reliability of his claim of mistaken identity and assess the potential for malingering. The main objective of this case is first objective is conduct a thorough psychological assessment to determine John's competency to stand trial. Second, to assess for any potential mental health disorders that might affect his ability to understand the charges and participate in his defense. Third one, to analyze the credibility of John's claim regarding mistaken identity and potential malingering. How can we assess and evaluate this case means first we have to interview the case, that is we call as clinical interview. In clinical interview we have to conduct comprehensive clinical interviews with John to assess his mental state, background and the circumstances surrounding the alleged crime. Second, you have to test the client, that is psychological testing. Here we administer the relevant psychological tests such as the MMPI-2 or PCLR to assess the personality, behavior tendencies and potential psychopathology. Second psychology testing is you have to use forensic specific tests like the SIRS to assess the potential faking or malingering of symptoms. That is, what are the symptoms the client is having, we have to assess. Third one is we have to review the records. First one, we have to obtain and review any prior mental health records and the criminal history to understand the John's history and potential patterns of behavior. Next, we have to collect the collateral interviews. We have to interview his family members, close friends, or anyone who can provide additional insight into John's mental state and behavior. Fifth one, we have to observe the John's behavior. We have to observe John's behavior and interactions during the assessment process for any signs of mental distress, agitation, or potential malingering. Finally, we have to find the observations and we have to give the recommendations after the finding. First, evaluation is competency. Competency evaluation is very important in the case. First, in competency evaluation, we have to determine whether John is competent to stand trial based on his understanding of the charges and ability to assess in his own defense. Second one is mental health assessment. Evaluate if John has any mental health disorders that might have influenced his actions or could impact the legal proceedings. Third one, we have to assess is credibility assessment. Here, we have to assess the credibility of John's claim of mistaken identity, that is considering all collected informations and the psychological assessment results. After that, finally, we have to conclude the case study. That is, in conclusion, we have to write the findings about the assessment. The findings of the psychological assessment will be instrumental in determining John's competency to stand trial, his mental health status, and the credibility of his claim. These assessments are crucial for ensuring a fair and just legal process for John Smith. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching the case history. If you have any doubts, ask me. Thank you once again. Thank you so much.